Because I've been blocked from seeing doctors for a couple of years now. And my primary care was needed to give the diagnosis prescription for additional physical therapy, as is required by the insurance policies and how it's been explained. That insurance will cover my physical therapy and occupational therapy at the Wellness Center with Sergeant Ryan Griffiths, who's an amazing therapist, and it's badly been needed the last couple of years, but there's been no appointments of any kind. So I've been making these videos and filming different therapy movements and things that I had emailed when possible to Sergeant Ryan. It was about posture and I was inquiring on those ways. It's been an approach of self-care that's been effective. It's really working. But the inability to see a doctor and the inability to see my therapist for proper therapy is because it's been blocked. It's been blocked all these years and by other people. So as I continue with my therapy routines and figure out what to do, the neuroscience end of it is what I really want to talk about. Because the neuroscience end of it is where I'm understanding how the left side neglect was the diagnosis of the injury. And with left side neglect that severe, part of my left side was paralyzed, but it was mainly the fine motor coordination they discovered once I was released from the chemically induced coma. Because it was unknown if I would swallow or be able to speak, because the same area responsible for speech and swallowing and the internal organs, those were the nerves that were severed, along with the nerves that are for fine motor coordination. So what I'm understanding on the neuroscience end is as my physical movements improve, it means that the neurological pathways of the healed brain matter from where the nerves have been severed, they're healing and the pathways are reconnecting. So as those pathways reconnect for the proper left side movement of that neurological processing, it's also stimulating a tremendous amount of memory, an overwhelming amount of memory and data. It's like these constant downloads of insane amounts of data as the left side gets better. And so it's so important that I need to talk to a doctor, to a professional, a neuro specialist that will understand exactly what I'm talking about with a severe traumatic brain injury recovery and a savant-like capacity, as it seems. I don't get to see a doctor for years now, so that's why I've been doing these videos so regularly and talking about it. It's to protect myself, number one, because I've been under attack since the injury, with people stealing the medical identity, and that's all the other videos. These specifically are about how bad I need medical care and how I've been spot on with self-care, despite the things that were blocked. And it really solidifies that if I had had proper medical care right out of the gates, I'd be 100% physically recovered today, as UMass had predicted. So I'm going to keep pushing forward and try to get to the 90% that Sergeant Ryan thinks I can get to. But it's been years since I saw my doctors, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's truly nothing I can do about it because my identity is being controlled by the agencies, bank accounts being controlled by the agencies, my records of Department of Health and Human Services controlled by the same agencies, and I'm not permitted to access my own records at Department of Health and Human Services without an attorney. I'm not permitted to access my own bank accounts without an attorney, according to the bank manager and according to the Department of Health and Human Services. So they've got court rulings in place that are instructing them that they're not permitted to give me my information without legal representation. And then I'm not permitted to get legal representation because when an attorney tries to represent me, they find a court order in place that they're not permitted without permission from another. The same as whoever the board members were of this trust account that was formed by Guardians, and I've been provided no ledger, no involvement. What they put into it was the proceeds of my home plus whatever else. There was apparently, I was a client of Morgan & Morgan, and Morgan & Morgan told me that there was a settlement, and that was at the same time frame that suddenly there was the Guardian's Office of Public Guardianship that were imposed by MDS. And Morgan & Morgan had taken my case because I was suing MDS. I wanted a lawsuit against them for medical neglect. Morgan & Morgan took the case. Suddenly there were Guardians, 2021, and then I find out in 2022, in the fall of 22, from Morgan & Morgan, that I had a settlement with them. So apparently, as I was going after MDS with the attorneys for their medical neglect, they brought in Office of Public Guardianship, put Guardians on me suddenly, and the Guardians took care of this settlement with Monadnock Developmental Services and Morgan & Morgan in my name. And then a trust account got formed, and I've been blocked from all that information according to court rulings in place while blocked from legal counsel to find out what these court rulings are and why I can't access my own information. So it's an overwhelming summary every fucking day that I gotta face. And as I go through these physical therapy routines, I desperately need to talk to my doctor. I need to talk to Sergeant Ryan. I need to finish taking care of my body as they try to prevent recovery from, in all those years leading up to today. They've been attempting to block it from release to the hospital, and that's why I'm disabled. And that's all in the documentation that's being hidden at the Department of Health and Human Services and in all the records, the archives that I can't access without an attorney, and I can't get an attorney without their permission. It's a very clear Rubik's type of lock that they've created. Impairment enslavement is how I've coined it, and I am expressing it to the public, and I'm looking forward to elaborating on it more like this with calm videos, because every once in a while I'm making some videos that are expressing just how fucking pissed off I am, because I'm so pissed off. I can't believe they're getting away with this shit. I can't fucking believe it. So since I have no advocates right now, since I have no legal counsel permitted right now, since I get to see no doctors right now, since my kids have been taken, and I can't get an attorney to defend myself from my home or their home, since I can't find out what's being done to me since my injury, and the more I confront it, the more they attack and the more that they take, I have to continue documenting myself like this just to stay fucking sane. Just to stay sane. Because I know they're not going to stop attacking. They're simply not going to stop. They're going to have to be stopped because they won't voluntarily stop. And when I say they, I mean the same exact people that have been doing this since the injury. Roger LeCompte, Lynn Howard, and Tim Donovan coordinated it, and either Jolene Rogers and Ryan LeCompte were working with them from the get-go voluntarily, or they manipulated to join them with the concept that he's not going to recover anyways. There'll be no crime of taking everything from him. He'll never remember, and we deserve it anyways. So it was either they knew they were doing it or they were talked into doing it because they weren't part of the hospital meetings that Roger, Lynn, and Tim attended together. So every day it's important to continue these notes because I know that more false information will probably get filed about me. There'll be more false reports with the media, like WMUR covered broadcasting basically for them that I was recovering just fine as a nice convenient way for them to cover the unlawful ruling that they had succeeded in getting while I was hospitalized. You know, hide the medical info, get the unlawful ruling, and then at WMUR say he's fine, he's doing great. All the while, it's being hidden my actual medical condition and that I'm under assault and everything's being stolen by the court-appointed guardians. So did WMUR help them knowingly, or was WMUR also fooled? So these questions are what I really want to ask Roger LeCompte, Lynn Howard, Tim Donovan, Ryan, Jolene, and WMUR, but nobody will respond, which makes me suspect that they've all been involved since the get-go. And I'm just going to keep on talking to the public until my story's finished. Until I'm home with my kids part of my life and they know the truth of what's happened to us, I'm going to talk to the public every day. I don't want to. I'm tired of this shit. I want to get back to my life. But I don't have a life. I'm a slave. And I'm not going to stop bitching about being a slave to a medical industrial complex controlled by educated predators with nefarious agendas. By far, the most painful part about this entire experience is my children. I miss Hannah and Gabriel so much. I don't like to talk about it, and I tell friends that, like, it's not something that I can really talk about because it bothers me too much. The clear memory of us painting their rooms just weeks before the injury, that how excited I was about getting that house finished, renovating the barn. My long-term plan was to be in the upstairs apartment of the barn I was going to renovate, and then have them go to like high mowing. I was thinking I'm going to be successful and be able to have them go to high mowing if they want to, or if they want to go to public school. It was this dream of mine that was coming true, to give them the choice of how they wanted to move forward with their education. And have a house that was able, I could help them with, if they were going to go to colleges, after high school, whatever it may have been. It was a beautiful long-term plan of me and Hannah and Gabriel moving forward, and as a proud father, showing them that I could develop a renovation company, and that the long-term plan with my education and nutrition of opening a cafe, and all of those things. I don't like to talk about with people how much I miss the two of them, because they've been just severed from my life the last 9 years. And then Tristan, their younger brother, who's now the surprise, he's the youngest and the most vulnerable of us. Between me, Hannah, and Gabe, he's the youngest, most vulnerable, and there's been no help, as I was attacked and he was attacked and Hannah and Gabe were attacked. It's so unbelievably painful that I don't like to talk about it. So I talked to myself about it. I'll watch the video tomorrow, and I'll probably get really pissed off when I watch this video. And I'll make some other video watching it real quick that's for the public to see how I'm so fucking pissed. Because I'm still under criminal assault by people that we're paying with our taxes. Like, I just can't fucking believe that these people are willing to do that. And then when I see the things that make me very suspicious, like the Pandora Papers and the stuff that Mike Gill and a whole bunch of other private journalists are coming forward and saying that this whole structure of New Hampshire is corrupt, is what they're saying. They're saying the evidence is there that every single angle is corrupt, and the mainstream media has become a propaganda machine to keep the population confused, as everything remains corrupt. And it can all stay corrupt and nothing will change. As long as the citizens are confused and fighting amongst each other, they'll never know that they're imposing the entire structure to be confusing, to be destructive, and to profit from every aspect of it, like this internal aspect of civil war, like war profiteering from the interior of the country, is really what these other people are talking about on the online videos. So is that true? I don't know. I mean, what they're talking about makes complete fucking sense from what I'm experiencing, and so is it really that bad? I can't help but continue talking to the public, because what's been done to me is as bad as it gets. It's absolutely as evil as it gets, right down to the religious end of it and the Christian beginning that I was taught with the Bible, and the quotes about how the most horrific things that you can imagine will be done to children was a caption from the Bible about the prophets talking about end times and the coming of the Antichrist, that the most horrible things imaginable will be done to children. And I have personally experienced the most horrible things that you could imagine parents doing to their child to steal money. It's ungodly. And so more and more I get worried that it is that bad. That I came back from this near-death experience, and I'm coming around after years not being able to acknowledge I'm disabled, still struggling to remember, and I'm coming up and waking into a society that is completely decomposed from the interior. The souls that are swimming around right now in our culture are so rotten that they can be smelt from light years away. Is it that foul? Truly that foul? And is that why there's no chance, no matter what I say or do, that I'm going to get help from people of any kind? I don't know. I really don't know. I know I'm going to continue doing exactly what I'm doing. As the inner voice that became clear when I was dead and has not silenced. It's difficult to hear some days, but the inner voice repeats those simple things to continue doing exactly what I'm doing. No deception, no exception. Continue doing exactly what I'm doing.
to have faith in truth over the fear of deception. No deception, no worries. And it continues. So the truth of what has happened to me, and the truth of what has happened to my children, and the truth of who I am, and the truth of what I've done, the truth of what I'm doing, they're all something I see with such clarity that there's no self-deception of any kind, because I've had years to think about it and dissect it, and I make these types of videos to watch the next day and get to remind myself of what I'm thinking, what I'm saying. So the dignity in that platform I've talked about, of this unbreakable platform of dignity that I choose to stand on, is based on essentially these types of things. I'm never bullshitting myself. I can't, in fact. Since coming back from the near-death experience, I simply cannot. I'm not capable of deceiving myself. I'm not capable of it. And so I refuse to attempt to. It also forces me to be stuck in the present. Being stuck in the present is beyond exhausting, which is why I so badly need to talk to doctors that understand the neuroscience end of it. They'll understand why, as my left side begins to heal, my right palm itches more than anything you can imagine, is driving me crazy. And why is the right side itching when the left side's firing? Neuroscientists understand this. They understand why it's happening, and I believe I do too. The fear is because there's no one smart to talk to on that level that have studied it. It's the fear. Is something wrong? Is something wrong? And I know nothing's really wrong. It's the confusion of the brain because of so many years of these muscles atrophying and these pathways not being redeveloped. But now that matter healing properly and the original neurological pathways getting to refire so that the nervous system that it's attached to and the fine motor coordination that it will activate, as that all is beginning, there's still a lot of confusion up here as far as the neural processing. So as things are sparking around, it's sending a whole bunch of info over here, and it's unbelievably uncomfortable. So why I understand it to that type of level, I don't know, but I really do need a professional to talk to make sure that I know what I'm talking about, that I'm not insane, that I just simply have an intricate savant-like understanding of the neurochemical processing in my mind and the biological electricity that's firing through the biological wiring of my body as it reactivates, and then know how to do it, and the molecular transformation of things I consume so that it becomes the fuel to do that. I really need to talk to professionals.